Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. In this Parliament today, as Veterans Affairs spokesperson for New Zealand First, I tabled the following letter from Vietnam veteran and medic John Doc Mountain, and I would like to now read this to the House. The Honourable Speaker and Members of Parliament, in October 2013, party representatives stood in this House and lavished praise upon New Zealand veterans who trained to serve in the armed forces. These men and women, ordinary New Zealanders, were prepared to do the extraordinary in service of their nation. They were proud to be deployed without hesitation into harm's way. In October 2013, MPs promised unqualified support of war veterans. However, myself and many other military personnel, both current and veterans, express our bitter disappointment at the ongoing failure of MPs to honour this promise. Unsatisfactory outcomes include the Napata brothers' claim for further compensation being declined, the recent unfavourable decision and despicable treatment of Jason Pori, an SAS trooper disabled in combat while serving our nation. Jason Pori received his injuries in combat but was cast aside like unwanted flotsam without the compensation he was so deservedly entitled to. We believe that distressing outcomes such as these implies that the ministers and members are not in possession of the full facts and are not receiving the comprehensive advice needed to provide the support veterans have been promised. The military is the only occupation where one loses basic human rights according to normal citizens, thereby effectively nullifying any means of redress. Military personnel are required to sacrifice their lives in the execution of their military duties on the orders of an immediate superior. Surely such a profound commitment requires an equally profound response. Men and women in the armed forces must be able to have faith that no matter what happens, they and their families will be looked after. We ask the House to consider the ongoing miscarriage of justice regarding declining war disablement pensions based on incomplete military medical records, linking the claimed condition to the claimant's service. This claim rejection practice continues to be applied by Veterans Affairs New Zealand, VANZ, in spite of the Crown's formal acknowledgement that medical records were poorly maintained and that Defence let veterans down. During Tribute 08, a welcome home parade for Vietnam veterans, a public apology by the Crown to Vietnam veterans, the then Chief of Defence and now Governor-General Sujiri Mataparai made a public apology to assembled veterans and government visitors. He said, "I acknowledge here your concern about the maintenance of your personnel and medical records. I believe your expectations around the integrity and completeness of your files were both fair and reasonable. NZDF let you down." He then went on to say, "You should not be concerned that this situation will affect you, as you are protected by the War Pensions Act, which provides for any benefit of doubt will be upheld in your favour. In such cases, any benefits of doubt of a linkage to service is to be upheld in the veteran's favour, as provided under Section 17 to 18 of the War Pensions Act 1954. In conclusion, John Mountain says, "We implore members of this House to honour this promise and revisit these inequitable situations. We respectfully request that any such claims be reviewed and those declined on the basis of missing medical records be accepted." Mr Speaker, attached to that letter was an OIA response from VANZ which showed that in the period 2010 to 2013, some 7,412 claims were accepted, but 6,953 were declined. Almost 50% were declined. Of those, a significant percentage were declined on the basis of the medical records being either inadequate, missing or incomplete. And those veterans deserve better in this, Mr Speaker. We have challenged the Minister to take this up, to look into this property, to find out why many of these veterans are being declined, why so many of them are not receiving their due entitlements in terms of additional disablement payments. And Mr Speaker, New Zealand First will be following through this with the Minister and with the Ministry, because we do believe that there are many thousands of veterans out there that are being hard done by through this whole process, and it is time that this Parliament honoured its promise, as it has in the past, and honoured the commitments that Sujiri Mataparai made in Tribute 08.
Maggie Barry.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. There is